Hey, good afternoon. It is afternoon by about 10 seconds. I'm Tony Shaffer of the S Files, and you're here with our live show, our live broadcast. And without further ado, our co-host, is the inconceivable Chris Cordani. Hey, Chris.
Inconceivable. That's right.
That's right.
I'm more of an immaculate in misconception.
Yeah, okay. I don't think you understand the word that you're using. That's okay.
I didn't shave either, so
I
that's
didn't
another
either. I
day.
haven't had time. It's been a busy few days, so
So you got the Crockett look.
keeping up with all these knucklehead Democrats. Man, oh man! I've some of you saw who follow me. I did the keynote speech at the County, Tyrell, as they say here, Terrell County. I'm looking in their direction. North Carolina Republican, the GOP convention, which wasn't huge, but it was a great group, and I did a little speech that the local media reported on. So that's it's interesting that it was an accurate report. Miles, the reporter, does a great job. I actually quoted him during my talk from other articles he wrote. So it's kind of a self-feeding circle. Just saying. So. But anyway, on to Democrats. What did you want to talk about Democrats? Isn't it's like talking about Satan, right? Or is there any difference? I don't know. You're muted, Chris. You're not. I'm not hearing you.
It's kind of like Pee Wee's
There we
Playhouse.
go.
The kind of characters you see in there on the Democrats' House floor when they're making their announcements and yammering on Ms. Now. It's a clown show. It's just first of all, it provides us with some material, so we do need them around for a
Yeah.
few laughs. But they every once in a while they seem to say the quiet part out loud to quote, well, a several time cliche. But this one was funny with this Chris Murphy character. And he does this in friendly territory, Senator Murphy, with this guy over here. I always forget his name anyway. Doesn't matter. But here he is. Oh, it's on. This is a while ago, by the way, on MSNBC before it was MS Now. I just want to throw this back at you. It's not necessarily new news, but
Yeah.
it's if you look at their policy, Murphy tells you exactly what how they're lining up their own party and what they want to do to the country.
The negotiation didn't have a path to citizenship. It was entirely on their terms in order to get Ukraine funding, right?
Well, I mean, Chris, that's been a failed play for 20 years. So you are right that has been the Democratic strategy for 30 years, maybe. And it has failed to deliver for the people we care about most, the undocumented Americans that are.
First off, undocumented Americans.
They're not Americans. That's like jumbo shrimp. They're not really jumbo.
Apparently, America solved its illegal alien problem a long time ago by moving them all out of the country and bringing in all sorts of undocumented migrants. And now, apparently, they moved from being undocumented migrants to asylum seekers to now undocumented Americans. This is basically who they're for. Not for the American citizens.
So yeah, and Murphy, just for the record, is about as smart as that ring of mess you see in a toilet at a rest stop. Just saying, he's about as smart as the whatever those things are living on the toilet. Just saying, and it probably smells about the same too. I don't know, but I'm imagining, and this whole thing about them caring about this, it's apparent because everything they do is designed to advantage illegal immigration to include paths. It's really kind of funny. I saw a video recently, Chris, that showed some local jurisdiction, I think in Pennsylvania, where the mayor was bemoaning the fact that ICE was removing these people, and he said, "Well, I'm sad because Joe Biden invited them here. Joe Biden had no authority to invite anybody here." It's true that he did actually create this one app that people could kind of get registered on and get in line to come in and come across the border. Doesn't make it right. It was still breaking the law, which, by the way, for the record, Chris, nobody has been prosecuted for yet. Just saying. It's like,
yeah, I know.
Anyway,
the other issue is they were actually telling these people that the loophole was they told these people when they're caught, just raise your hands and yell asylum. I want asylum. They can wait in here for as long as they want. That's the big problem. Stay in Mexico was actually sound policy.
And it was what we were doing under Trump the first term. And I think we've returned to that too. So I think it's clear that what's going on. Now, Murphy, and by the way, Chris, a question to you. MS Now, that's their new name, right? Does that stand for
Ms. Now?
Does that stand for like menopause support now? Is that what that is? I don't know what it stands for.
I believe it was, I don't know, MS or Ms. No One's Watching. Or more the same no one's watching.
If you actually want to do we want to be factual, which we kind of want to do in this case at least. It was for Microsoft in the day. It was supposed to be Microsoft, like their partnership, but that partnership I think like ended the first year and they kept the name. I don't know why, because it's like an appendage without purpose, which is like the Democrat Party. I guess it fits.
Oh, absolutely. And the funny thing is, the Democrat Party apparently might be. Here's an obscure reference for you. Reporting to Murphy.
Oh,
remember that TV show? It lasted for a few weeks. It was called Report to Murphy. It was Murphy.
Yeah.
Murphy was a parole officer. That was Johnny Dangerously, I believe.
He became Batman later, right?
Johnny Dangerously, for that matter.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's right.
One of the greatest movies ever made that people don't talk about anymore.
Well, our friend Joe Piscopo's in that movie too.
He was Denny Vermin.
And we don't talk about that. I know.
You shouldn't hang me on a hanger. My father hung me on a hanger once. Well,
there. I'm going to bring that up to next time I'm on his show. I'm going to bring it up to him.
That's right. And you do bring
never have me on again.
That's right. And you do bring this up. Tony Shaffer, you have a lot of great conversations going. The next one on your deep dive is going to be with Bill Morningstar. He's going to talk about a few things with you. We're going to talk UFOs and an interesting letter that Oppenheimer and Einstein left for Harry Truman about UFOs and aliens. That's going to be, it's an exclusive conversation.
That'll be tomorrow night, right? That's tomorrow night.
That's correct. Thursday but for subscribers to you on X, so check that out. Go to Tony's X page. It's not a lot.
Right now.
Yeah, you just buy him a couple of cups of coffee each month, to be honest. Wait, who are those two ugly guys? Anyway.
It's like you don't want to give it to those Soviet Marxists at the Starbucks. You don't. I mean, they're all like unionized now too. So they're one step closer to being the Soviet Union. Don't go to the Soviet Union to buy coffee. Just saying, right?
Right. And by the way, the funny thing is, so no matter how communistic they are, when those ingrate, whiny socialists that work for them strike, they get locked out afterwards. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I was literally doing prep this morning and I was watching one of the videos on Seattle being in a death spiral, which is going even faster. The home of Starbucks, they're closing 5 Starbucks. And the guy who created it, I guess his name is Schultz. He's like moving to Florida. It's like, I'm out of here.
Yes, he knows nothing.
Thanks for the beans.
That's because that crazy chick, that little girl, the woman child who's actually 43, 44 years old, she's making it virtually impossible to run a business without being taxed up the nose. This woman puts Zorhan Mamkami to shame. I don't know. Are they competing with each other? She's just not getting the headlines this guy's getting because nobody wants to see her on television. That's another story for another day.
So there's a distinction with a difference regarding East Coast versus West Coast Marxism. So New York, they've all recognized that you got to have the Brooks Brothers shirt as a minimum suit. You got to have either Canali, Zegna, or Brooks Brothers. Brooks Brothers being kind of the lowest quality but acceptable. And Mondami figured it out. He's put the costume on. Out there on the West Coast, you can be a lesbian driving. What do you call those? What are those cars they love? The Outbacks. You can be an Outback driving lesbian, and you can rule. Yeah, and I think that's the thing that is most notable. You can kind of be more of your natural crusty self. Can I use crusty as a descriptor? I guess I can. If
you probably could.
You're like a granola chick. Is that that's a thing, right? Isn't that a thing? I don't know granola chicks, but I think it's a thing, right?
Yeah, I know a few granola chicks, and a lot of them, well, they don't like to shave in certain places. And I'm talking about armpits. I'm not being X-rated here. I'm talking about armpits and the legs.
No, it's body sculpting. Is that what they call it now, or is that different?
Oh, it's
I don't
body
know.
leaving. I actually dated
Body
a granola once, back in the high school days,
Yeah.
because
Did your
I
wife
thought
know
it might.
about this?
Well, you know what? When I was younger, I was so ugly that I dated anything that would go out with me.
I'm
So
sure that's not true.
no, it's true. I did anything that
You're
would go out
not.
with me. I'd be like, all right, fine, whatever. And I put my
You're
hand in her leg, and it was like, ah, it's like a jungle on there. I mean, come on, people.
Well, I think it's interesting that anyway. So that's my point. You're making my point for me. You can be all kind of grunge. Seattle is a home of grunge, right? I guess you can be grungy
Yes,
and be a politician, and that's a problem with this new mayor. It's like she's a grunge, and that's her biggest claim to fame. There she is. Man,
that's
oh
right.
man, she
She's
looks like
12, isn't she?
yeah, she looks like what was that group that killed themselves in L.A.? They were looking for that spaceship. They all drank the Kool-Aid literally. What was the name of that?
Oh, that was the Jim Jones group, right? Oh,
No,
Jonestown.
no. This is the guy that had the wide eyes. You know, he's like he did a video of explaining why they were going on the spaceship. And
Oh, wait, is that Haley Bop? Hale Bop the comet?
Hale Bopp, the Hale
There's a
Bopp
bunch of
comet.
them. Right.
Yeah, yeah. She looks like she escaped.
No, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, think about it. Jim Jones was very close to the socialists in San Francisco at his time, and
course.
including one Harvey Milk.
Of
I mean,
course.
I know they named a drink after the guy, but come on.
And Senator Feinstein.
Good job there,
Yeah,
Donna.
yeah, that's right. It's true. The kamikaze milk, right? Isn't that the name of it?
That's right.
No,
The
I'm making
the
that up.
socialist, but think about it, the socialist Kool-Aid. It's actually true. Let's not even put that aside. When somebody drinks the Kool-Aid, it's actually
Heaven's
usually
Gate.
it's
Yes,
associated with
Mary
socialism.
Lou got it. Heaven's
Right.
Gate.
That's it. Heaven's Gate. I know. There's so many of them. There is. I mean, think about it. But what about the Friends of Venus with Exodore from Mork and Mindy?
Yeah, I don't think they drank the Kool-Aid. I don't think they did.
Ah. I have an interesting hairy armpit story for you before we move
Oh
forward.
my
here.
God, really?
Yes.
All right, tell us your hairy armpit story.
It's not mine.
Was that his name? Hairy Armpits?
It's not mine. There is
Harry A. Pitts. That's like a name.
no. What I do have something for you. Have you seen the movie Against All Odds? And this is from a friend of mine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Phil
Okay.
Collins does the song for it, and I know.
Okay, everybody knows the Phil Collins song, but
Yeah.
another song hit the charts
Okay,
from that movie,
all right.
and that was the great Kid Creole and the Coconuts, who hit number 59 with Male Curiosity or My Male.
Oh, I think I've heard this song.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, Adriana was on my show. She's a friend of mine. We pound ales in the city on occasion. We pounded ales in the city on occasion before COVID, at least.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that again soon, Adriana, if you're watching.
All right.
But she told me that you'll see in the video the women did not shave their armpits. You say,
Yeah, I wasn't looking that close.
no, they did that in defiance.
Just saying.
Yeah, so it was a whole big thing between her and the band, but it's on one of my old
In
shows.
defiance
I'll
of
play
what?
that for you.
Civilization?
No, I think they had an argument with the kid.
Of the Roman Roman Republic? I mean, what are they
No,
defying? Who cares?
No, the girls had an argument with the kid, and they just decided not to shave their armpits for it. And it just seemed to work out for the movie anyway. Gross, but that's what happened.
Maybe that explains why it wasn't a
Happy
great movie,
birthday,
but a great
Deborah.
song.
That's right. It's Deborah's
Happy
birthday
birthday.
today. Yes.
Happy birthday, Deborah. Yes, and many more.
Yeah.
You need to be out there on a beach with Bill Shatner smoking a cigar.
Yes, but I'm sure you're a lot younger than Bill, so that's a good thing.
But it doesn't change the fact you should be on the beach smoking a cigar. You can be any age to do that.
Good point.
I mean, 5-year-olds do that in Malibu these days, from what I'm told. So,
Well, at least she can take a trip, and the airports will be nice and orderly, unlike maybe a few
Speaking
days
of airports, guess who I was night before last?
Was it Chuck Schumer or was it Sherry
No.
Curry?
No, it was Bob Hayes.
Oh, Bob Hayes. That's right.
It
That
was
was close.
Striker.
Hey, by the way, I got one for you. Speaking of airports,
All right.
how many times does Chuck Schumer or can Chuck Schumer humiliate himself in an entire year or entire week sometimes? This guy just makes himself look stupid every day. Every time he opens his mouth, he thinks he's influential. He's even lost the young Democrats. They look at him and
He lost everything.
young Democrats look at Chuck Schumer like we look at Mitch McConnell. Okay. So here's Chuck talking about how
Well,
it would be
I look at Chuck Schumer like I look at Amy Schumer.
I don't know. I think Chuck is a
Keep going.
lot better looking.
All right, keep going.
Right. Here's Chuck complaining about how it would be horrible
Horrible.
if ICE was manning the airports.
Yeah, horrible.
Here it is. It's bad.
Everywhere ICE goes, trouble follows. We've seen that. And it is highly likely the airports will be no exception. No one trusts that ICE is going to make things better.
Once again, ICE agents have arrived here in Philadelphia, but I do want to point out this is an empty line right now. We are standing in the middle where travelers come to check in for TSA. Yesterday, this was all the way back to the garage. So good news today, lines aren't too bad.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Lines aren't too bad. Things are happening. It's orderly again, and people can get on their planes.
Imagine that.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Oh, but wait a minute. I keep hearing from liberals these horrible things that ICE has been doing. So let's see some of the horrible, disgusting things ICE has been doing at the airports.
Yeah.
Let's see, giving out free water to kids
Ooh.
and families who need it.
Oh my God.
That's so horrible.
And by the way, they're not wearing masks because Tom Homan said, "Yeah, well, there's not people not trying to run them over there. We're not trying to stay anonymous."
That's right.
What are they?
That's just so horrible. Let's see. Want to see some other horrible things
Yeah,
ICE is doing?
keep
at the
going.
airports?
This is
Okay,
horrible.
let's try. Here's something horrible. There, according to Buzz Patterson's quote, I like him. And he says,
I
right,
like
ICE
our
agents.
friends. Yeah, I like.
Yep.
this.
ICE agents shown ripping families apart and shooting people. Well, let's see. This piques my curiosity. Yep. Apparently shooting people with a camera. Kidding. Yeah, those mean old ICE agents.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I see. I have total faith in Tom Homan. I never thought that this was actually illegal to show up, by the way, to the airport because they're going to deport you. Just saying. Word to the wise. Take this as a public service announcement.
Yeah.
This is
Tom
Tony
Homan.
Shaffer with a public service announcement. Now that ICE is at airports, if you're illegal, don't go to the airport. Thank you for your attention to this matter. There you go. You can use that. Run that as a public service announcement for us.
Well, that's another thing. That whole arrest that the Democrats are trying to push as well. I shouldn't be here. That was a woman they already had detained because she was illegally in the country and she tried to run off. The Democrats tried their hardest to frame some of the worst people on earth as.
So I think as a counter to this, apparently Amy Schumer is with hairy armpits doing a lap dance for passengers at the LaGuardia this morning. Just saying. So that's the friendly skies, adjacent, right?
Well, yeah, and Deborah, by the way, Italy's a good place to fly. They have a good prime minister. It's not like the rest of the EU. Okay.
Yeah.
Italy and Hungary, by the way, my descendants, where I'm descended from Italians and Hungarians, all good people. They know what
You like goulash on pizzas, then, huh?
I'll take that over pineapple. Pineapple does not belong on pizza. What do you think out there?
I don't know. Did you invite stuff cut crust pizza? Is that like a Hungarian thing? You put stuffing and crust, or what? I don't know.
I thought that was Pizza Hut.
I don't know who did that. I don't really like the stuffed crust. Just saying. I just have the regular. But what do I know?
No, Renee's weighing in on the hairy armpits. I guess we're not going to lose that one. Hey, Adrienne is cute, by the way, and she's cool. But yeah, they all did the hairy armpits.
And just take it with a grain of salt. I don't know if Amy Schumer doesn't shave her arms, nor do I care, to be honest with you. But I think it'd be maybe she and Chuck Schumer can hang out and help each other shave their armpits. Like jointly shaving armpits could be a series, right?
You know what? I was thinking that, look, during COVID, TV stations, TV network, it was a TV network that was airing celebrity haircuts. I believe that was one step away from celebrity girl sculpting, if you will. We got a lot of stuff. The chat's going on nicely here. Hi, everybody. How you doing?
I would bet Chuck Schumer's better in sculpting than he is cooking hamburgers on a grill. Just saying.
I don't know. He wasn't very good at putting on a mask. Remember when he was preaching about masks and then his nose was sticking out of that thing? It was a horror. It was just that's embarrassing. And so I'm with no to the pits. By the way, this is the age-old question. Hey, should we guys do the same thing? by the way?
Some guys do, and I don't care. I mean, look, let's be blunt. This is the 21st century. Guys do this stuff, and I'm not joking. If you go to the beach, you'll see guys. As a matter of fact, I know a couple. I have no problem, and I don't think they're gay necessarily. Maybe they are. I don't care. That do the full body like cleansing. They're like they're like a 7-year-old regarding hair. And this is nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying it's like kid related. I'm just saying they remove things. I don't know.
I know liberals like to remove things too. Well, that's another story.
Yeah.
And they try to pull that off in the schools. But I also believe that this whole thing about sculpting and women sculpting, this whole debate is mainly because the Democrats think women are stupid. And we've been talking about this before, but they think women, this has been their play for the last few weeks, when it was realized, well, that we can't cheat if the SAVE Act passes. So we can tell women that they'll never be able to get an ID because they're dumb. And this was like, I guess,
God.
You can reach dumb women through The View.
Did you know Whoopi dates at 70? And I guess she goes to like funeral parlors.
Now, let me tell you something. Annabella Lewin looked great with that half mohawk haircut, and she's gorgeous. This one, Whoopi Goldberg, not happening. It's not hip. It's not cool on you.
So we should take a survey real quick. A snap survey. How many people in the chat believes Whoopi shaves her pits?
Oh, gross. Oh, man,
I say no.
I don't want to know.
No.
Let's check this out. Let's hear what this woman has to say anyway, because she, again, thinks women are just too feeble to handle the actual situation when it comes to getting an ID.
To take Jesus' name out of his mouth. Yes.
Oh, my God.
Joy Behar's worse, by the way.
Wow.
This is not a good idea for so many different reasons. I'll start with just the most obvious. If you're a married person, if you're a married woman, this means you now have to go find, if you've been married 50, 60 years, you got to go back, find your birth certificate. You got to change your name because the name on your ID right now is the name of your husband. That's not good enough.
Okay. Liar, liar, and liar. Yeah. First off, get the marriage license.
Yeah.
You have that. Right. Yeah. Oh, and a lot of states now, or at least New York, I know New York has something called a real ID. I have that. I can go anywhere with it. I can go on a plane.
I do too. I got mine right here. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's right.
I don't need a passport now. I have a real ID. And by the way, these wine sipping broads who are on TikTok blinking all the time and telling us what they want everybody to think.
Maybe too. Right. You can get something that I've actually got a passport card. You can get a passport card that actually is issued along with your passport. You carry like a card.
Exactly.
It's all in the name.
Exactly.
There you go.
And that's where we're going here. These people are lying to you, and they're trying to, and not only are they saying women are too stupid to be able, and minorities, by the way, too stupid to get regular IDs or the normal IDs, but they're also too stupid to realize that these people are lying to them.
Right.
I mean, how little do these people think of their constituents or their voting, their base, if you will?
Well, see, they don't care. I mean, you and I both know, and everybody in the chat knows, you can't do anything without an ID. I mean, anything you do, from a bank transaction to even like going to the store to buy cough syrup. Chris, did you know? I don't know about up there, but here in North Carolina, you buy cough syrup, you got to get it. You got to show an ID.
That's because it's a gateway drug. You should know that.
True. Vic's Formula 44 in the Dayquil, man. I'm telling you, NyQuil. It's like, yeah, I'm addicted to Vicks.
And we're gonna talk with Ruthie in just a little bit here. But sometimes I like to play my favorite game.
All right, go ahead.
And we're gonna do this. Maybe we'll do a little more with Ruthie. And we'll bring her in on this one. Scott Jennings versus liberal cretins.
Oh boy, let's do this.
That's always one of my favorite game shows. We're going to do a little bit of that. We're going to bring Ruthie Blum in, and we're going to talk about what's going on in the Middle East and everything else. But first, let's watch Scott Jennings in action. All right, let's pull that up here. Yeah, how about that?
Do you believe that Iran has been the world's largest state sponsor of terror for the last nearly 5 decades?
The president is the one, Scott, who said 9 months ago
I'm asking you
that he obliterated any capability that they
you either
have.
do or you
So
don't. You either
what
do or you
is the
don't.
what is the mission now?
I'm
Why
asking
are
you.
we
I'm
there
asking.
now?
I would like to
Why are
engage
we
in a
there
debate.
now? I think the president.
I'd like to ask you. We're having a debate, so
I
I'm
think
asking you a
the
question. Do you
president
believe
owes
Iran
the American
is a state
people
supporter?
an explanation
Oh my
why
God.
it's
These
okay to
people are
go
insufferable.
Yelling is not an answer.
into a war,
Yeah, exactly.
where 13 people have died.
you're
You're
not-
sending additional ones.
because you're not-
and
Nobody's yelling right now.
Because you're
No one-
because you're
no one
because you're not
is.
prepared for this.
She's yelling.
Let me tell you what the objective.
And this is some former congresswoman broad that I guess nobody really
Is that her
noticed
name,
because she's not wearing a
Congresswoman
hat.
Broad? I think that's a good name, Congresswoman Broad.
Hey, Ruthie.
Hi.
Hey, Ruthie. Ruthie, do you think that Whoopi Goldberg has good hygiene habits or not? You don't have to answer.
Hey, yo.
I don't
Hey,
know.
I thought we were going to talk about Iran, not Whoopi Goldberg.
Well, they're kind of the same. They're both
Yeah.
terrorists in their own way. I mean,
Yeah. Well, they're both
states of terror.
pro Ayatollah.
One's a terrorist state and one isn't a state of terror, right? I mean, they're
That's
related.
right.
So, Ruthie,
Right.
welcome to the show. It's good to have you, and obviously a lot of stuff's going on. And so, I'm glad Chris played this right now, so we can start talking about this. The left is literally on the side of Iran and the Ayatollahs, hoping that the Israelis and America lose. What the hell's going on?
Okay, so let me tell you something.
Yeah.
One thing that America and Israel have in common is that the left would rather see their own country go down the toilet than give a win to Trump or
Right.
Netanyahu.
Yes.
Okay. So, first of all, it's hard to tell whether they're really on the side of the Ayatollahs or if it's just anything that President Trump says or does is, a no-no.
Yeah. It's not, well, what's nuttier to me is that every time they take a position, they basically, it seems like, especially CNN, it's taken talking points right from whoever's left in charge, the IRGC. Let's just call them the IRGC in charge of what's going on in Iran, because we've killed like 5 levels of their leadership. So it's all kind of on remote control now. But
That's right.
with that said, CNN seems to be the biggest offenders of the theocracy, which has been the keepers, basically keeping the Iranian people prisoner as prisoners for the past 57 years. I mean, why is it we can't get past this nonsense? 47 years. Sorry, I didn't want to add 10 years. But why is it that we can't actually do something to end this? Because to me, CNN is just literally playing for the other side at this point. And I'm all for First Amendment. What I don't understand is how anybody takes them seriously at this point.
Well, nobody really does, because their ratings are down
Yeah.
the toilet. So they're not taken seriously. That's the answer. But when you say, why is it after all these years, this is still the discussion? Well, look back at Jimmy Carter. Look back at when this all started.
Yeah.
The president of the United States, who, when his embassy staff was taken hostage in Tehran by these goons, his response basically was, there's not much you can do. Okay. Yeah. So, you have to look at the whole history of this. And this is coming full circle. So you shouldn't be surprised. Can you imagine? Think about it for a minute. Whole embassy, a U.S. embassy, is taken hostage. And the president of the United States says, let's see, well, there's nothing you can do. Let's see, who can we talk to? And then finally, eventually, when a military action was planned, it was screwed up because of weather conditions. And the whole thing was like a bunch of bumbling idiots. You had the CIA people in the CIA who didn't speak Farsi, who didn't have a map of the inside of the embassy. There are just so many things that went wrong. So, and you can also look at the history of the United States that never likes to enter a war, no matter how just,
right,
including World War II.
Well, look, I'm all, as someone who's been in war, seen the effects, participated in the effects. I like the idea of avoiding war. With that said, I also recognize there's times you have to have steely resolve and go do it. In World War II, the issues regarding 7 October for you all. I mean, it's been something that you can't avoid taking strong action. And this is where I'm a Reagan guy, so I always distinguish between my Reagan based philosophy and the libertarians. And so there are libertarians, Tucker Carlson, Rand Paul. I think they reckon, and I've said this at CPAC one year. I said, look, you libertarians fail to understand there's people who hate you just because you're Americans, and you're never going to change that. And to ignore that or to pretend it doesn't exist is not going to make it go away. So I think they're the opposite extreme, which really do cause some problems. But I don't think for the most part they engage in propaganda. I don't think purposefully. I mean, we can go, I don't want to go down the Tucker Carlson rabbit hole. But
Let's not.
Yeah, but I
How about
do.
the Candace Owens?
No. We've been working to stay out of the Levine, Candace Owens,
Right.
all that. We don't, that's not our. They can go have your cat fight.
We'll
make
just
sure
say-
Okay, and by the way, though,
We're not
by the
gonna
way, I wouldn't lump Rand Paul in the same category as Tucker Carlson, but that's another. Again, we don't have to talk about that. We can
No.
just talk about what's going on with the
Right.
war now.
And by the way, for the record, libertarians don't shave their armpits either. Just saying, but that's a different.
Well, it depends.
Not
The
that I care.
Oliver Chase ones probably don't shave their armpits, but they're the Mises Caucus libertarians who want to be
So,
clean.
my
Okay.
friend Bill Barr, who impeached President Clinton, was a libertarian. He ran for on the libertarian ticket one year. But it's, again, I don't want to go down.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I keep opening his door.
But that was
I
Bob
shouldn't.
Barr.
I'm sure Bill Barr did not shave his armpits.
Right. Not as opposed to Bob Barr, who shaves everything.
Right.
Just saying.
Look,
right.
Tony,
All right. I'm
No,
going to
no,
show the
I'm gonna
video.
I'm
I'm going
going
to show the
somewhere with
video
all-
if that's the case.
Hold on. No, don't show any pictures of Bill Barr shaved.
No.
No.
No, but
No,
Tony, look,
no.
you're a military guy, and of
I
course,
am. I'm going to talk
you
about it.
know, you know about war
Yeah.
firsthand. And I don't, but I have 4 children who served in the military and in Israel. So in that sense, I'm adjacent to it. And
Yeah, yeah, and
certainly,
I appreciate that.
as a mother, you think that I want to
course.
send my kids to war to get killed? Of course not.
Of
But
course.
does that mean that I don't know when it's necessary to save the home front? And in this
no,
case,
it-
I've got to say, civilization, Western civilization.
So this is one of the things I think the mainstream media right now is trying to diminish, and it goes back to our original point about 79. I mean, the fact is, the moment the Ayatollah took charge, he was at war with you all and us, period. And it's like, hey, big Satan, little Satan, we're going to destroy you. It's like I take them at their word. It's like, and they've done things clearly fund Hezbollah, Hamas against you all, fund the Houthi against the Saudis, do all sorts of even, I faced off in Afghanistan. I talk about 2 chapters in my book, Operation Dark Heart, about the IRGC funding the insurgency against us. So they've been killing Americans. They've been trying to destroy the Israelis by murdering Jews and destroying the country. Are we supposed to let this snake continue to without regard to our own safety, continue to put the venom of its poison into your body? I mean, where do we stop? And I think clearly the time was now to stop it, right? I mean, that's my view.
Absolutely. And you know what's astonishing is how for decades we were all, and I say we, I mean the United States and Israel, in this case, when I say we're terrified of Iran. We can't do this because we'll all be wiped out, and we can't do that. And now look, as President Trump pointed out, look at that. We're flying with impunity and no lost lives over Tehran. Is the Israeli Air Force and the U.S. Air Force just flying in, flying out? Do you know the Israeli planes, they have to fly 2,000 kilometers. It's extraordinary how weak they are actually, and how weakened, thank God for Israel and America, in June in the 12-day war, and now again. So, it's amazing. It turns out that they were, it was easier to defeat them than anybody had thought.
Well, you also can't negotiate with
Right.
them either.
I want to hit that
There's
in
an
a second.
historical component. I want to ask you guys.
I
about
want
this.
to go into that 1 second.
Right. Yeah.
Chris, before we get into your question, let me add one other thing about what you just said.
Right.
I will never forget the video, the handheld video from someone in Tehran tracking a Jewish F-15 Eagle flying with impunity over Tehran the day after the attack started. I'll never forget that, and it was amazing. I mean, they won't let our guys do that, but God bless you guys for like just flying right to downtown Tehran. I'll never forget that. Just saying, that was amazing. So, over to you, Chris. Sorry, I wanted to...
Yeah. And see, ask yourself why we don't learn about the Barbary pilots in public school, elementary school, junior high, or high school. You ask yourself why you don't learn about Americans trying to work with and negotiate with Muslims or Muslim nations back in the day, because Thomas Jefferson, he tried to negotiate or work with the Barbary pirates and realized, hey, you can't do that. They're just going to keep coming at you because they think they're morally obligated or morally righteous to attack those who are infidels. So they're going to keep going. You have to stomp them. Thomas Jefferson knew that. John Quincy Adams wrote a letter, a warning saying you cannot. They're allowed to lie to you, and they think they're morally obligated to do so. You cannot negotiate with them. So when you have liberals saying, well, you couldn't do it diplomatically, or you couldn't, or it's all about Israel, the fact is Iran is a threat to not only the nations around it, to Israel, but to every American embassy nearby, and potentially not only international trade, but our national security. You have to stop people who think they have a moral and religious obligation to destroy all of us. And I'm not just talking about Israel and the U.S., the rest of the world, which is not Muslim.
Right. So, Ruthie, to that point, Ruthie, there's no doubt that the moment the Iranians started firing missiles, they'd already pre-registered those targets. They were already planning on hitting all of those Arab cities. So there's no way, like within 24 hours, we had to read. No. The plan was always, once they had sufficient number of nuclear weapons, is to simultaneously take out Riyadh and Tel Aviv at the same time, right? It was always about going against the Shia and the Israelis at the same time, right? They never intended anything but evil, right?
Of course. And by the way, they don't make a secret of it. Let me tell you.
No.
Here's the thing. For years and years, the interesting thing was that we could see this with the Palestinians as well. They made their intentions very clear in Arabic. They made no bones about it. Their television shows, their news programs, their media, etc. Okay, so of course, Iran as well. Made no bones about it. And it didn't matter how many times people translated it for everyone else. Listen what they're saying. Okay. It just was ignored. And I'll tell you something. What's beautiful about the West is also what's annoying about it. The same thing about liberals. Okay. We all want to believe that everybody's like us. Okay. Let's just all get along. Of course, I have to say, the left, I'm not talking about liberals, whatever, old style liberals. Leftists don't just want to get along with everybody. But if you're talking about people with bleeding hearts, let's just all get along. You cannot confront an enemy who doesn't feel the same way. It just doesn't work. And all you have to do is listen to what they're saying to you and believe it. And first of all, they've proven that you should believe them because they always carry through on their threats.
And so it should be a surprise. So, but one of the things, but at this point, there's 15 points on the table. President Trump has presented them to the Iranians to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. So I see this developing as Venezuela 2.0, but on a larger scale. It's like, okay, we're willing to deal with you. Apparently, the rumor is the IRGC guy that was just elected, this hardliner, was put up to be the Dulcie, whatever her name is, potentially that we could deal with, which I don't think is going to work, just saying. But I think the Iranians recognize they have nowhere to go. Between you guys, with the Israelis and us, they have no options. China hasn't stood up and said, hey, we're going to help you, because they're not. Russia's kind of said, oh, yeah, comrade, we're with you, but yeah, we're not showing up. Good luck. So they really have no options left except death. And I guess facing either death or dealing with us, I think they're going to pick the lesser option of staying alive and listening. Do you think that's where this is going?
Well, I don't entirely agree with you, because
I'm happy to
they're already saying, hold on a minute, President Trump isn't going to dictate terms to us.
Well, we'll see.
No, nothing doing. And by the way, We don't want Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. They're liars. You want to send someone to negotiate, not them. By the way, we know why they want J.D. Vance and not Kushner and Witkoff. And you know what's ironic about that is that Kushner and Witkoff were the ultimate deal makers with Hamas and with Iran. They went back and back again. And Witkoff is always saying, hey, everybody's a nice guy. And even Steve Witkoff came back and said, we tried everything. And they just wouldn't budge. Okay. So that's why they don't want Steve Witkoff. And so they think that J.D. Vance being more of an isolationist and all that, and being a little bit more critical of Israel, that he's going to be on their side. But let me point something out. I don't even want, and I'm not even talking about J.D. Vance. I'm talking about the Iranian from the Iranian regime's perspective. They are still insulting Trump and saying nothing doing. That's why I disagree with you. It's true. Their back is up against the wall, and all they should be doing is surrendering. One reason I also don't agree that it's like Venezuela just has to do with the cultural difference. You cannot compare a country like Venezuela to jihadist-run state, okay? Because jihadis it's true that they're also engaged in drug trade and all that. Hezbollah, that's a large part of their money in South America, etc. But their ideology is radical Islamist. And by the way, the jihadists have killed more Muslims.
Oh, no, I always bring this point up.
Depends on which ones, yes.
Right. By the way, Ruthie, I had a question today on WMAL, and I don't know if you can answer it. Is John Brennan a Sunni or Shia? I don't know. I don't know these things.
Yeah. John Brennan,
he was John Brennan, if he was a Sunni or Shia.
Yeah, he was on Ms. Now recently, by the way. He says he trusts the Iranians more than he trusts Donald Trump.
Exactly.
They are an authoritarian regime who's known to lie.
Could not acknowledge the truth.
Iran, like.
By the way, that's Jasmine Crockett if she shaves her hair.
They are an authoritarian regime who's known to lie. But like, I'm confused. What is going on? Help me. Calm me down.
Well, I tend to believe Iran more than I do Donald Trump because
of course he would. He's Muslim.
Yeah, that's a question.
He's a Muslim.
You guys were talking about this on a Sunday debrief. Not only is this guy a well-known SY Hall voter, he may have, he may have made a transition.
He did. No, I'm not joking. I mean, when I was in with Mike Pompeo, when Mike was first took charge of CIA, I was in talking about this topic, as a matter of fact. And so I looked over at Mike as we're friends, and I said, Mike, I looked around the room, and Mike was kind of looking at me because I'm looking around the 7th floor, his conference space. I said, wow, it's good to see that John Brennan removed all of his prayer rugs. And Mike just kind of gave me that look like,
that's a problem. Communists don't like religion.
No, they don't.
So that's a conflict.
But they like rugs. They like
that's
rugs.
right. So what he did was he kept the Gus Y. Hall haircut and brought in the prayer rug so we could bring the two together.
Well, listen, Andy McCarthy,
like
years ago,
species,
he's been writing about that marriage between the communists and the Islamists. It's strange bedfellows, but nevertheless, there you have it.
Yeah, it's true. But let's go on some other strange bedfellows. Let's talk about. Hold on, I'm getting news. No, I want to get to this this David French. The David French article. Yeah, I know. I described his
baton.
Did you know his new title at the New York Times? He's wackadoodle. That's true. And,
at the Times, that says a lot.
He is wackadoodle.
It does say a lot.
So he did this this anti-American editorial using Stan McChrystal, who I worked for. Wow. Again, it's in the book Operation Dark Heart. As a matter of fact, most of the book, the last chapters cover the time I was working for him as a senior clandestine guy, running the clandestine stuff. Anyway, I've had time with Stan. Stan's a bit overrated. I'll be polite. According to this article here, let me say this. This is how they're trying to tout him. This is the left, to give Stan McChrystal more credibility and to support David French. Stan McChrystal was the man who revolutionized counterinsurgencies. Like, no, he didn't. We lost Afghanistan, so apparently he didn't revolutionize anything. Just saying. You don't revolutionize something unless it failed. So you didn't realize, just saying, Stan, if you told left to say this, it ain't working. Anywho, back to the story. David French does this thing where basically Stan McChrystal comes out and trashes my friend Pete Hegseth and goes about saying this effort is not worth the time, resources, and all it is essentially is Pete Hegseth basically being a frat boy and sending people in. Yeah, this is my ex tweet. I guess we can still see tweets. This morning it's got over like 300 retweets. And McChrystal obviously got trashed by Michael Hastings, who I talked to, by the way, just for the record. Michael Hastings told me to my face before he passed, because I asked him about the runaway general thing. He said, Tony, I just reported what they were doing. It was like a frat house. They were all about themselves. And Stan McChrystal, who called Vice President Biden, Vice President bite me, which is true. He probably did. Just saying.
In the shower, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, my point is they're trouting out Stan McChrystal with this Marxist. Come on, David French. He was a neocon, now Marxist, full-blown Marxist, trying to trash our effort. How is it anybody listens to these people at this time, Ruthie? How is it possible?
Well, the only thing I can say is that sometimes when you look at Twitter, X, in other words, you get the distorted sense of who are the majority and who are the minority. So though they may be loud and they may be influential to some extent, I mean, you mentioned Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens before. They may have a huge following, but that doesn't mean that their voice is actually the voice of the American people at the ballot box or otherwise.
Yeah.
So my answer would be, well, I'm not sure. Just because he's gotten, 1 million shares on X does not mean that. It is worrisome. You say, why? How can anybody listen to so-and-so and such and such? But again, don't forget, Trump won the election. Okay. Twice. You might have said he won it the other time, but we don't have to go into that.
No, he did win the other time, but we can talk about that some other day. Yeah.
We don't have to go into that. My point, the point I was making is, and the same thing happens in Israel. You get a distorted sense of how many Israelis hate Prime Minister Netanyahu. Look, the crowds were in the streets protesting. This was before October 7th, protesting and calling him every name in the book and blah, blah, blah. But the fact is, he's been the longest serving prime minister in Israel's history. You think that that's because the protesters are popular? No, it's not. And I would say the same thing about Americans. And, there was this question about whether Americans are supporting this war or not. Israelis, 90% of Israelis do support it. And Americans, I understood many Americans were against it. Although, of course, Americans, unlike me, let's say, are not running to bomb shelters all through the night, okay, with Iranian missiles raining down on them. Nevertheless, but then I heard that's not entirely true, that, the polls are showing that as America is succeeding, it's creating a kind of morale. Americans like winning, and Americans are proud of President Trump. So I don't know what the truth is, but I would wager that that's true, that he is giving a kind of boost of morale to the American people.
Well, so the anti-American nonsense like David French and McChrystal standing up saying all this nonsense today, which I've been corresponding, believe it or not, with some of the members of President Trump's cabinet on this issue this morning, and obviously they think this is just stupidity. Because to your point, Ruthie, I think most Trump folks I've talked to, and I'm a Reagan guy. And I always say, look, I'm not necessarily MAGA, but I'm Reagan. I'm loyal. They brought me to the dance. You stay loyal to the people who bring you to the dance. Like
the OG, make America great again. Yeah, that's what you want.
Right. So I'm just saying, it's like I'm not. Look, I advise MAGA. I advise people every day in MAGA. With that said, it's very clear to your point. MAGA is all for this right now. It's like, okay, we're going to give you President Trump the benefit of the doubt, and I agree with that because, there was a couple things I was facing on with people this morning. Oh, this is Gallipolis, whatever that thing was. Like, it's not that. Oh, you're going to have all this. Like, no. So there is fear. Trust me, there are issues. There's fear, and I get it. But nothing important can be gained by being timid and allowing the other side to maintain the initiative. So President Trump took the initiative. He's now actually redesigning the global economy because, Ruthie, this isn't just about Iran. This is about the bankers who literally in London have played both sides against the middle. The people who always make bank off this is Lloyd's of London. And so he's saying, enough's enough. So I think most Americans are, gas has gone up $1 a gallon. I'm not happy about that. Most people aren't. But I think everybody's willing to give President Trump the benefit of the doubt for at least a few months. So are the Israelis coming around on this too? Do they think that it's okay for Netanyahu?
I'm telling you, 90% of Israelis don't need to come around. 90% of Israelis are pro this war. That's extraordinary because Israelis are always, we say 2 Jews, 3 opinions. So I'm telling you, it's an incredible consensus about this. And that is in spite of running to bomb shelters all the time. Okay. I have gotten no sleep in 3 weeks. Okay. Because every time I start to doze off, we have a siren. I got to go outside my apartment building, downstairs, go to the next apartment building over, go downstairs to the bomb shelter. Then I come back upstairs and I can't fall asleep again. And then it's 3 in the morning. And then at 4 in the morning, there's another one. Okay, this is how we've been living. And this is after 2 years of, 2.5 years after the October 7th massacre. So, we are weary, but we believe in this war. We've had enough of those enemies. And we've got to finish the job because what we tend to do is say, okay, we'll get to a point where there's a ceasefire. There's, peace and quiet. I don't like to use the word peace, quiet, temporary quiet. And then they rebuild and they regroup and then it comes back worse.
So I want to ask you about that. And I think we've got one last secret weapon we can use. Chris and I were just talking about it. Chris, don't tell anybody. Okay. But Ruthie, we're contemplating the potential airdrop of Amy Schumer into the middle of Tehran and letting her go. Hairy armpits and all. I think that would be devastating.
And she's going to actually do her act, which will make it even worse.
She'll bring goats with her too. Just saying. Anyway,
all right. Now you did it. I know. I said if you're going to bring up, hairy armpits again,
don't do the show. Anyway,
I'm doing the video. I'm doing the video now. I told you before. Now, my friend Adriana Kagi is in the middle. Okay? She was the lead original Mama Coconut. They did this in the movie.
Oh, here we go.
Ruthie, you saw the movie Against All Odds, right?
This is Amy Schumer and the hairy armpit singers in Tehran, right?
Right. Now, this is where Kid Creole and the Coconuts did My Male Curiosity. It was another hit from that movie Against All Odds. They're doing this at a nightclub, and the girls had a dispute, I believe, with the kid, and they decided not to shave their armpits for the video. So here's what they did. I can't do the music. There they are, right there, unshaven.
All right.
That's what they did, and it was hilarious.
Folks, join Amy Schumer and the hairy armpit girls in Tehran.
And that's
where
I can't play the music.
The favorites, the Islamic favorites of My Goat Over the Rainbow.
I will tell you this. I did this I'll have to find the interview and dig it up and post it somewhere where Adriana told me the whole story about how that went down.
By the way, folks, I just got I'll be on Carl Higbee tonight at 6:30 or something. So be sure.
I like the movie too. That was
Ruthie. But my question is, how much more does the Iranians have left? Because I get your point. We've gone through, and again, my kudos to the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, have been phenomenal. The way they took out the leadership, and it's been reported how they were able to be outside the country and shoot these rockets straight up into the atmosphere and come straight back down. And the videos of that are incredible. And just to think that they got these guys all in one place is wonderful. With that said, now, how much do the Iranians have left? Because I think we've reduced about 95% of the military. I got a few ballistic missiles left. To your point, they're still hitting Tel Aviv. How much do you think this is going to go on longer? How much do they have left?
Well, what I hear, I'm no military expert. Okay, I hear they have a few hundred missiles left. I mean, now they have also short range missiles and maybe more of those, and those are a problem. The short range ones are a problem for the Air Force because the short range ones. This is what I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tony. The short range ones are the ones that can attack the planes, but what I understand is they only have a few hundred left. And that is why, if you notice, though, they send 2 million Israelis every a couple of hours into bomb shelters. That's over, they'll send 2 missiles and we still have to go into bomb shelters because we're watching the trajectory and they're sending cluster warheads.
I've seen those. Those are very effective, unfortunately, because they burst.
Yes, they do a lot of damage. Luckily, very few people have been killed relatively. I mean, I hate to say that because, every life is precious, but considering the damage and the, it's going on day and night, and Hezbollah from Lebanon has also joined in. So we're getting it from all sides.
Right.
Now, so they don't have that much left, and we know that because they could have been firing, hundreds a day. And they're not. They're doing 1, 2, at a time.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know how much longer this can go on, but I know that the question is President Trump really going to buy this issue of negotiations? I personally believe that this is another fake out that he's pulling, like he did before the war started. That's what I believe. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, you can tell me. I was got it.
No, I think. Go ahead. You want to play that, Chris? Whatever, John. How do you saying there?
Oh yeah. I was just going to play in the background here, but I'll play the. I'll play with the video.
John talking about this. Yeah. So, so my point, Ruthie, I don't think there's any indication at this point that we're going to stop military action unless there's a clear, crystal clear indication that they're going to accept the 15 points. Because to your point, I know this is. Venezuela was done in 4 hours, just saying. I mean, it was like, in and out. And if you want to live, you have to deal with us. Very, kind of like, just like the mafia, just saying, not that Trump's a mafia guy, but they were given a choice, take the gold or the lead, that's what it was. Anyway, I know it's more complicated with that, but at some point, I'd like to believe we're going to find somebody who can say, I want Iran to survive. We need to stop this. And I think it's going to take someone who's not going to be bad-mouthing Trump. And to your point, I think Witkoff, I have my doubts about Jared Kushner because I've had to clean up after him in Egypt a couple of times, just saying. But Kushner's a master at this sort of thing, and he's the guy to do it. So they've said, I've heard, maybe from someone, that the basic format they're going for is what they use to put in place regarding Gaza. So I think that's what the outcome is, some sort of a Gaza-like agreement with the Iranians. So that's what I think they're going for.
That might be bad too, because, the question is, and the Iranian people also would be very upset about that, because the Iranian people really say that if you leave even a vestige of the regime in power, it's just going, because you can't trust them. And the same thing with Gaza. The problem with Gaza is, okay, who's ruling Gaza? And then if you have all these bad actors, that's problematic, but we'll get to Gaza later. The thing is, once you tackle Iran, that has an effect on all the terrorist groups, on Hamas, on Fatah, on Islamic Jihad, on Hezbollah, on the Houthis. That's why Iran is the most crucial.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I've said this before. We should have had an Arab coalition ready to go in to be the police force in Gaza. It's like, hey, you don't want Americans? Fine. But we're going to have some force, to your point, to disarm Hezbollah. I mean, Hamas, sorry.
Please.
And Hamas, by the way, is still not disarmed all this time later. What are we?
That's right.
Like 8 months, 6. How many months?
That's right.
Yeah, it's like, wow, forever. So I'm upset about that. And then secondly, the issue regarding Abraham Accords. I think we should have an Arab coalition who basically, we worked with them during the Iraq war. We could do it again. And let them go into Cargill, and just saying, let them.
That would be nice. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm just saying that I don't know why we're always the ones having to do all the heavy lifting when the interests of the Arabs are very similar to the Israelis and ours at this point. Just say it. So,
well, yes, but in fact, we know that the Saudis have appealed to Trump and said, "Don't stop, keep going," and all that.
I know.
And but when you say, then why do we have to do all the heavy lifting? You know the answer to that. In fact, it's interesting that when asked that by reporters, one good thing about Trump is that he just talks all the time and he'll answer any question for any reporter. And so, he makes a lot of headlines and he says and he tweets. I mean,
strategic ambiguity.
Right. But what he did say when he was asked about that and why, what about, is he going to expect the Saudis and others and, the Emiratis to help do that? He said, I was hoping Europe. Okay. Oh, because they were talking about the Strait of Hormuz, of course. And he keeps going back to that about Europe because
look,
Europe is in danger, and Europe. Let me tell you, while the French are deciding which white wine or red wine goes in which glass, their country is being taken over. It's just appalling, and the same thing with Britain.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
So I think we're missing out here. There's an opportunity for a dream team to get together to take care of this. So I would take Macron and Gavin Newsom and Keir Starmer and that nut from Estonia. What's her name? Kaya Kallas. And they could be the Fantastic Four.
They would.
They could go in and take care of all that by themselves with Harry Armpit.
Absolutely.
A dream team.
They could be the dream team. That's right.
That's right.
So, well, we got to go. It's been a great show. Ruthie, it's always a pleasure to have you along. I appreciate the conversation. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tony and Chris. Really, I love being with you guys. And so till next time.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll have some even better news.
Well, hopefully, and I'll see you on Newsmax, hopefully, too.
Yes.
That's right.
All of that we hope
right.
will happen. And thank you
I'll
all
be on
for...
Newsmax. I'll be on Newsmax in a couple of hours.
Good. Yeah, I'm only scheduled for Higbee's show later today right now, but it always changes. So anyway,
right.
Folks, thanks for being here today in the chat. It's great seeing you all jump in and chat. And like I said, no armpits were harmed during the filming of this show. Just saying.
Not yet.
Not yet. The day is young, right, Chris?
Yeah, right. We still have after the show.
Who wears short shorts? That Nair. Remember that Nair stuff? Yeah.
That was a classic hit song.
Okay, well, we'll see you. That's right. So anyway, we got we'll see you all Thursday night for the deep dive with what's his name? Who's coming, Chris?
Oh, the deep dive is going to be Bill Morningstar. Bill Morningstar.
Bill Morningstar.
Yeah, and that's going to be a very in-depth discussion on UFOs, UAPs, also maybe something extra concerning 9/11. But that's for those who are subscribed to Tony. That's right. On X. That's right. And again, it's a couple of cups of coffee. If you value what Tony does on a regular basis, please subscribe and encourage your friends to subscribe. It's only a couple of cups of coffee, and believe me, we taste better than Starbucks coffee.
Especially since it's all run by a union, which people don't shave their armpits in. Just saying.
That's right. Thank you, and please spread the word. Share the stream with everybody you know. Share the info.
Check out your local barista. We're telling you.
Jamie, it's
the
live.
Local baristas, you'll see.
Jamie, it'll air live on X. Deep dives
Thursday,
go live on X. What? 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
but
Thursday,
it's always available. It's always available to subscribers, and then you'll have a key to there and everything else. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you miss
you can
it
always
live,
see the old stuff, right? We've got that available for everybody. Yeah.
Right. All right. Thank you.
All right. Good. And then Sunday, the Sunday debrief. We'll be back there for that Sunday.
Yes.
Maybe. Somebody will be there. I may not, because I got to get.
Right.
I got to be in DC for Gary Sinise and the reopening of the Vietnam Memorial. So I'll try to make it back in time. So,
all right. And nobody's going to take their briefs off. So.
That's right. I got to see. I got to make sure that Lieutenant Dan is in good shape, so to speak. So,
He'll have a leg to stand on.
That's right. All right. Take care, folks. Thanks for being here. We'll see you again soon.